Okay, here it is, just as I promised, the lunge video and a better audio, hopefully. You can hear this a lot clearer than a kid crying in the background. So here I am. I'm going to go ahead and go into a reverse lunge position, take my measurements. As you see, I'm going to go ahead and put my knee to the ground, hands on my hips, and what I'm looking for is perfect alignment from knee to hip, hip to shoulder, hip to head. I'm also going to want to make sure that my knee is somewhat over my ankle, or slightly in front of. Once I have accomplished that, what I'm going to do from there is I'm going to actually push the ground straight on up. I don't want to progress forward, I want to go straight up. Okay. So let's see, as I engage my thigh muscles and everything invested around the hips as I go to the top. So this is our lunge pump. What I'm going to be looking for is for my knee to lock out so I can have activation of this quadricep. I'm also going to have my back knee lock out so I can have my glutes and my hamstrings engaged at the same time in the back leg, the trailing leg. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell my hips to go straight down, not forward again, but straight down. Knee's going to go right back to where I started at. See me pointing my fingers to navigate where my hips should go straight down. Now once I accomplish this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to evenly distribute weight to both thighs, ideally at least, shall we say, as far as stresses, as opposed to if I was leaning forward, and I'll show you that as we progress. So I'm going to pump down, knee touches the ground, and it comes right back on up. Now knee does not have to touch the ground. If you do go to full range of touching the ground, you don't want to go to a dead start unless that's what you're trying to accomplish. And a dead start, again, is me putting my knee to the ground, taking a slight rest where my legs can actually rest for a moment. And then trying to generate power so I can go all the way to the top again. So here we go, down and slightly above, or hovering right above, and I go to that lockout position again. Okay, down and up. Okay, now after that third one, what I'm going to show you now is that I want to prevent this leaning forward right in here. So you'll see a lot of people who don't have the core stability or the anatomical positioning or awareness of that anatomical positioning. They're going to do a lot of this leaning forward. My core is now broken. When I do this, my center of gravity has changed from the ideal position from here to here, which now puts a lot more stress on that leading knee. Okay? We want to prevent that. We want to put an even distribution between both thighs. So I want to make sure that my core muscles and my positioning that I'm aware of is on point so I can prevent this position. That's a no-no, ideally, because this has more potential of injuring that front leg, especially if I already have a problem. Now ideally we want this if we had an overhead position, and you'll see something that I have to work on myself is that slightly too far back it should be. So this is my position right in there, which is slightly off. Ideally I want it right over my ears. So even myself have to work on my positioning overhead. This is something that is continuous with my jerks. This is the same thing if I have a weight in the rack position, where there's two kettlebells, a plate, dumbbells, you name it, the weight in front. I still want to be in an upright position. Or if I'm holding them to the side in a suitcase position or farmer position. What I'm trying to do, no matter where I place my weight or choose to place it, I want to stay in that upright position. Okay, so here's my upright position, a little farther back than I would like, but it's not too bad. I'm trying to stay in that line, so you'll see a decent position. My hands should be forward slightly. Okay, down and up, looks good. I don't want to go too far forward. Now this is me exaggerating the position, but you will see people doing this, especially when they're trying to walk the lunge without having the proper core stability or positioning. And you can see that a lot of weight is just being distributed amongst the front knee as opposed to the back trailing knee. This also, you'll see the back leg becoming straight, which is another variation of a lunge. This is not a wrong thing. You'll get a slightly more glute activation, less hamstring in this position. Okay? Alright. Okay, what I have for you here now is a lunge in a diagram or a digital diagram presentation showing you all anatomical muscles that are in use and positioning provided by a company called Muscle in Motion. They have an application as well. So as I progress, you'll see stepping into a front lunge, our skeletal system here, and he's going to do the same position. Look at that positioning. He wants alignment straight up and down. He's looking for his knee slightly over his ankle or there close to, in a good parallel position of that thigh. Okay? And surprise, surprise. And he's in the front rack position with 2 kettlebells, which I have to say is one of my favorite variations, especially over the overhead position, which is very hard. Harder does not necessarily mean better. Now what he's going to do, he's going to go ahead and lead off that front leg. He's going to step forward and he's going to go ahead and progress into those walking lunges. Here's a inferior position, coming up down low. Hopefully nobody has this view naturally. But you'll see that muscles that are going to be utilized are going to be his glute maximus. Synergistic muscles are going to be right in here, which are going to be his hamstring muscle, semi-tendinosus, semi-membranosus, bicep femoris, so on and so forth, which comprise of the hamstring muscles. Excuse me. Notice something on the trailing leg, though. Look at his quadricep muscles, right here. His quadricep muscles are now acting as synergists on the trailing leg, as opposed to his quadricep muscles over here, which are going to be antagonistic muscles in this motion to push back up. Something that I also would like to bring to your attention is hopefully you'll be able to see this, but his legs are parallel to each other. They're not tandem. They both are not on a sliding line as if they're trying to balance themselves on a rope or something they're close to. They're parallel. Okay. Just going over here telling you the target muscles are going to be the quadriceps as well. Yep. Synergistics is which I brought to your attention earlier. Okay, what we have here coming up next are going to be another set of group of muscles that are taking a stretch. This is going to be your piriformis muscle and one of your hip flexors, excuse me, your iliopsoas muscles, and your rectus femoris, part of your quadricep groups. All hip flexor muscles being stretched in the trailing leg. Stabilizers of the upper body. These are muscles that are going to keep your core in that position. So if you remember previously when I was telling you about people that have their position where they lean forward and not activating their core muscles, these are some of the invested muscles of the back's musculature. Your trapezius, your rhomboids, trapezius, your abdominals in the back, your rectus spinae group, which are big muscles that everybody seems to avoid more often than ever. The other core muscles of the pelvic floor are going to be shown right in here as he goes into a beautiful reverse lunge. You will have a slight lean forward when you go into a reverse lunge. It's just that you don't feel so comfortable going so back upright, but that's okay. As long as you perform the right positioning. And he's showing you the muscles of the transverse abdominis, rectus abdominis. Now here's an interesting diagram or opposition right in here. Notice how his knee is caving in. It's coming to the inside. If anybody's ever squatted with me, came to one of my classes, or any other of my clientele, they'll always tell you I have an analogy for you to think of when it comes to squatting, which is opening up peanut butter jars from the foot. People like to use a cue of, hey, push your knee out, push your knee out. I don't like that too much. I'd rather teach you how to create torque from your foot. And if you ever have any questions about that, please come and see me and I could go over that with you. So he has that caving into the knee. Very bad position to be in. Very compromising. Bad for the health of the knee structure itself, particularly for ACL and meniscal health. So right here they're showing you diagrams of the torque that's being created because of the muscle imbalances. Right here, glute medius and your adductor muscles, adductor magnus and longus. So he's having this knee cave in. Right here you have decreased hip abductor and hip external rotation strength, if you cannot read that, and increased hip abduction activity. So what we try to do is we try to balance that by addressing those muscles. So what we're going to do is, you're going to see, is we're going to focus on strengthening these muscle groups to add stability and doing some active release, active tension release methods, as this, otherwise known as SMR, FMR, foam rolling, myofascial relief. MFR, excuse me, myofascial relief. Let me go ahead and clear that. So you're having a pulling of your adductors to the center because they're always also tight, especially compared, and you can see in size compared to these smaller muscles, which are going to be external rotators of the hip. Right now it's showing you the glute medius, piriformis, gluteus maximus, and vastus medialis. What should we do? Well, just as addressed earlier, let's go for some self-myofascial release with the foam roller. My favorite is the grid, personally. And he's going to go ahead and he's going to roll out those adductor muscles. Now, rolling out those adductor muscles are going to slightly shut them off. It's going to decrease their activity, thus increasing the activity or the dependence of your glute medius and other invested muscles to get to have an external rotation of that hip. Okay. Another motion they like to do is what's known as a side lunge or side squat, also known as a Cossack squat if you were to pivot off that heel and toe up. This is static stretching. What you want to do with those static stretching is hold for any given period of time of 30 seconds or above. And again, this is going to slightly deactivate those muscles for a short period of time. And this is why we also tell you not to do static stretching before any workouts, because you will have that inactivation of those muscles. Even though it's temporary, it also could be a site for or cause of any type of injury if that's not what you're trying to accomplish. There's a time and a place for all types of stretching, and you see right here, this is the one time that you may want to do static stretching in the beginning as opposed to at the end, something that we always prescribe. That's my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me as you see me at the gym. Once again, my name is Coach Frank. I hope you guys have a great day. Stretch out always, and good health to everybody. Love you all.